What is up? What's going on, guys? Welcome, welcome. Boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Ho, ho, ho. Coming up on the program today, Janice Daniels. Who can we trust about the Nord Stream pipeline? Oh, man. Really? Really? Yeah, that's right. She was the 9th mayor of Troy, Michigan, elected back in 2011. We'll talk with her about that. So we have that. We have the latest out of Washington regarding the COVID-19 virus origins. I know, crazy, right? We have some clips there. Actually, hang tight. I'm gonna play that for just a second. I gotta see what that sounds like. I haven't even heard the audio yet.
The FBI has for quite some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic are...
All right, we're good. We're good. Welcome, welcome, guys. We are getting everything up and going here. Have some political, fun, electoral things. Drama within
2
politics.
minutes till broadcast.
Among others, so. Dude. All right, there we are. I think we are ready to go for the day. As far as I'm aware, yeah, welcome, guys. What's up? Got the Facebook going. OpsLens is rocking. OpsLens website is going. An app and social media. Plus our Podbean feed. Let me check that one. Scott, what's up, brother? Making it happen. I tell you what, though, the Getter is getting some really good traction. Got to get the Getter if you don't have it.
1 minute till broadcast.
Apparently. We're going to do some health conversations today as well. I don't want to be preachy, but we do want to drive home the point that we can actually take care of half of our health issues on our own. So, we'll have some fun there as well. Jeb Bush back in the news. Why the hell is anybody talking to him or even caring what Jeb Bush has to say? Was he even a relatively influential figure at all? Let's be honest. I don't know that he was. I really don't.
30 seconds till broadcast.
All right, if you are on the live streams, welcome in. If you're on the Facebook or the Getter or the Tweety or the Twitch.tv or the YouTube, then welcome. Let me know what state you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you as we continue to work on more radio affiliates all over the place. Like it out, share it out, break that algorithm. Let's have some fun. It's going to be a big one today. Hang tight. Radio program starting momentarily.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time, even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome into the program. Hey, what's up? Great to have you along for the ride today for a pre-Friday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. We are ready to carpe diem all over this place, baby. That's what we do, especially with the light at the end of the tunnel coming up on a Thursday today. Welcome in, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station, but we are all over the place, multiple radio stations, TV stations, live streaming, and podcasting. However, you watch or listen to the program, always great to have you along for the ride. Your Millennial General reporting for duty like we do every single day. Big show lined up today. Holy cow, we have a lot to cram into the 1 hour program. Bottom of the hour, we have Janice Davis. She is a former mayor for Troy, Michigan, and we'll chat with her. She's also a member of the John Birchett Society and a contributor to the New American Magazine, which we love having those guys on the show. We'll have her on in just a little bit. She's going to be talking about the Nord Stream pipeline. The investigation, obviously after the news that it blew up, we didn't hear a word after that. And the Biden administration has all but acknowledged the fact that they're the ones that contributed to the blowing up of said pipeline. So we'll get the latest on that investigation. Where are we at, since the mainstream media is not going to tell you about that one. So big conversation coming up here in just a little bit. Before we get into our major topic of the day, though, I got to give you kind of an update of what's going on. Yesterday, we told the story briefly regarding the swatting calls regarding active shooter scenarios at different public schools across the state of Kansas right here where I hail from. And as we did our investigations yesterday, we found out this has been an ongoing, and yes, I will call it a pandemic. I would also say it's a declaration of emergency for how devastating these are, putting the lives of children and teachers and administrators and staff and faculty and members of the community at danger by the potential concern or warning or threat of a active shooter scenario at public schools. Obviously, probably one of the most disastrous things that can happen is when you have a school shooting, and those happen more frequently than what they need to be. The threat of one or the calling of one to local law enforcement just adds to that craziness as well. And as we dove a little bit deeper into this scenario, we found out how frequently these have been happening. Just last week, Colorado had about 16 of the calls themselves. Here in Kansas yesterday, we had at least 12. I thought it was 7. It actually got bumped up to 12 by the end of the day, which I was not aware of. We've had the states of Oklahoma. We've had Ohio. We've had Georgia. We've had North Carolina and South Carolina. We've had majority of all the states that have received these phone calls. The weird part is, and I've been able to listen to some of the phone calls that were made to local law enforcement that they released to the public, that was someone of a very thick accent, wherever it may be. And according to law enforcement, these calls are coming in through a Google number, so they cannot be traced. They're just an internet number being injected in. The weird part is how the number is somehow getting to the local law enforcement agency, because they think it's overseas. They don't know where, but they think they're overseas. But yet somehow the overseas number is able to tap into a local, because usually when you call the FBI or call 911, the 911 goes to the local 911 that you're registered in based on where the tower is pinging you. So that way the local law enforcement in your area are the ones that can actually respond to you. So it's weird how they're able to get to the local law enforcement with some of these cases. So I sat down and I chatted with our Attorney General here in the state of Kansas, where I hail from. I'm going to air that on my local program coming up on Saturday morning, and we talked with him about it. But he did mention one thing that kind of perked my ear up as I said, because of this going on across the nation, is there any investigation from the FBI at the federal level and other federal agencies on where these are coming from, on how to stop this? Because I deem these, whoever's doing this, whether it's a gag, whether it's timing out our law enforcement response, whether it's a distraction to do something dangerous later, whether it's planning a mass school shooting scenario, whatever the scenario is that's going on here, which God forbid, whatever that may be, we need to figure it out. And I deem these individuals, whoever may be doing it, as terrorists, domestic terrorists or foreign. I don't know, nor do I care. They need to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. And his response was yes, the FBI is getting close to finding this out, but he cannot release much more information as the investigation is still ongoing. So that's good news. At the same time, a little bit frustrating for us on the home front here, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. The reason I bring it up today is because just this morning, after our incident here in Kansas with 12 different schools getting the call first thing in the morning yesterday, the headlines today is that the state of Nebraska ended up receiving these same calls in multiple different public schools across the state of Nebraska just this morning. So back-to-back days, just a few days ago, less than a week ago, we saw it in Colorado, now Kansas, and now Nebraska going on today. So our thoughts and prayers, and luckily, law enforcement starting to recognize the fact that these are recorded calls and that these are, Nebraska being a small-ish state population-wise, they said that they were easily able to detect the fact that they were most likely swatting calls that were not legitimate active shooter scenarios, because apparently, according to one law enforcement agency in Nebraska, they said that the law enforcement that answered the call, they said that the recording was an individual claiming to be a teacher in a certain room number at the school. Being the small community that it is, law enforcement knew that there was no teacher there by that name, nor also knew that that room number did not match any room number that was there at the school as well. So whoever's doing this apparently didn't do enough research on the school that they were making the call to. So at least we're able to find this out. Thank God. And I repeat that, thank God that no one has been shot or injured in these scenarios of an accidental shooting. For those that don't know, the swatting incident, for those that don't know what swatting is, making a phone call and making a false report to go to somebody else's place, whether it's a public venue or a home, personal home, and saying that something bad is happening, a hostage situation, a public shooting, whatever it may be, and claiming that falsely for law enforcement to show up. And thank God that law enforcement so far has been able to catch on to this and that no one has been injured in these really emotionally intense situations where we have these swatting calls being made. So we'll stay on top of that. We're going to make that a priority number one here on the show, to stay on top and try to investigate what the hell's going on, because they need to stop. As someone who has actually been through a public high school shooting when I was my senior year and actually lived through that, I don't wish that upon anybody. Even law enforcement just showing up prepared for that type of scenario is very traumatizing for children, and we need to make sure that we end this and end it pretty quickly. So that's what I have to say about that. With that being said, let's move into our latest and what's trending for the day today for a pre-Friday. Let's do it.
What's trending today?
All right, so here we go. We have Washington, D.C. with a Senate committee that has unanimously passed a bill trying to declassify intelligence regarding COVID-19 and the origins of the virus. Oh my, Dr. Fauci squirming in his not-so-warm seat with the NIH any longer. There was a Senator Roger Marshall, who actually our senator here in Kansas, where I hail from again. He leads one of these committees, and he's been investigating this since the very beginning, and he's had some roundabouts with Dr. Fauci a few different times on gain of function, and the NIH and Dr. Fauci specifically that invested a lot of the gain of function in the Wuhan lab in China. Now remember, the official statement from the White House and from the federal government during the pandemic, and even now, when Joe Biden is trying to say, no, we really don't know. Some of the evidence may lean towards that way, but we don't really know. That's the statement that we're getting from Karine Jean-Pierre, the secretary for the White House, while they're trying to still say that it was from like Ozzy Osbourne biting a bat in China and then spreading it through that way by buying it off a market. While they're trying to still defend that position, other individuals, including our of law enforcement and FBI here in the nation, are saying, yeah, that's really not the case, and we've actually been following this in a different manner all along.
The FBI has for quite some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic are most likely a potential lab incident in Wuhan. So here you're talking about a potential leak from a Chinese government-controlled lab that killed millions of Americans, and that's precisely what that capability was designed for. The Chinese government, seems to me, has been doing its best to try to thwart and obfuscate the work here, the work that we're doing, the work that our U.S. government and close foreign partners are doing, and that's unfortunate for everybody.
It is quite unfortunate for everybody. That was the FBI director who sat down with Brian Kilmeade on Fox News. As I say, all along, we've kind of had suspicions that it came out of this Wuhan lab. Now this is finally starting to become public. Now, we could have those on the other side of the aisle say, Andy, what does it matter? Remember the Hillary Clinton montage? At what point does it really matter? Who cares any longer? It's out. We're dealing with it. Shut up and get your vaccine, get your booster shots, and go about your life knowing that the government's on top of this. But for those of us that are skeptical about everything that comes out of the mouths of politicians in Washington, D.C., and especially in administration's stance as a whole, we usually are skeptical about what they say, and that usually means when they say something, that it usually means something else. I mean, we literally had the federal government just weeks ago tell us that a child's drone or balloon or even a weather balloon that was our own from NOAA that got shot down by fighter jets out of the sky was an unidentified flying object that it was not being the aliens and ETs were not being ruled out of the scenarios here. If we don't know with our own technology what those things are, as a balloon, as a weather balloon, and we can't rule out ETs in that situation, how the hell are we supposed to trust what they're saying about that, or about the origins of COVID, or where COVID came from with gain of function, or even the solution for COVID, meaning we are being herded like a whole bunch of sheep or cattle or hogs or whatever animal reference you want to use. We are being herded in the funnel with whatever direction they tell us based on what they release to us, because they're not releasing all of the information. And we are skeptical even during the Trump administration, although Donald Trump did a fantastic job doing, 2-3 hour press conferences on a nightly basis talking about the updates of what's going on. And we didn't have the information then. Or maybe they did and they didn't want to create public panic. I don't really know. But the Biden administration has it now. Dr. Fauci has it now. It's had enough time. We have our 2020 hindsight. We have our vision of what happened in the past. Now we know. Let's release it to the people. Why they don't want to release that to the people is because it incriminates and criminalizes many that are within our very own government that had a part to do with this, especially with the gain of function. So the next question is, will we see any ramifications? Will we see any prosecution coming from the federal government if that seems to be the case? We already have a link between the NIH and Dr. Fauci and the Wuhan lab. We already have the proven money record and follow the money trail that shows gain-of-function investments. The reason it's important is because if that is true, what else are they lying about? They have to go out and get the virus vaccine. They have to go out and get the double jabs and the vaccine. When we've said many, many times, and I know this is controversial, if you want to go get your vaccine, go get your vaccine. I don't really care. I've openly said I have not gotten it. I have zero intention to get it because we know exactly what demographics that this virus specifically targets, which is elderly individuals, immune-compromised individuals, and severely obese individuals because their immune system, specifically their lungs, cannot fight off the virus that attaches to their lungs. Coincidentally, as we've said many times before, vitamin D3, which is the vitamin that helps boost immunity for your lungs, specifically to fight issues like pneumonia, are deficient in near 80% of Americans in the population. And I've even gotten our health director in my state of Kansas, our former health director, he stepped down toward the end of the COVID stuff because he got so much heat for the way that he was handling issues. I got him to admit during a social media debate that, yes, we probably should have focused more on telling people to go take vitamin D3 and magnesium and zinc because those are the things that actually boost your immune system specifically for your lungs because of the deficiency that most people have to help fight viral issues that attack your lungs. We got him to admit that on social media as he tried to tell us that he was trying to promote that all along when we knew that wasn't the case because it was all shadow, wear the mask, be very scared, go get your vaccine and you'll be fine. That being said, as we distrust the government more and more every day, what can we do to do it on our own? We'll talk about that when we come back here. How can we make sure that we don't rely on their lack of information moving forward?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out today. 24 minutes past the hour. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the show. We always love you to death and appreciate you very, very much. So we have the lack of information, lack of transparency coming out of the Biden administration for sure, saying just do what we tell you to do. And we're not going to tell you anymore. And then if we find news that contradicts what we've been telling you, then it's really probably a lie and just don't listen to it. It's hashtag fake news, which is what they try to tell you all the time, right?
You are fake news.
Yeah, that's what they go for. So the question is, when we don't trust them, what can we do for ourselves? And this is not to be preachy or to tell you how to live your life in any way, shape, or form. Do whatever the heck you want to do, because in the conservative libertarian flavor of me, I just don't really care. I really don't. I mean, good for you. I want you to be happy and joyous and prosperous and do whatever you do on your own, however you choose to do that, as long as you hold up the three pillars of conservatism, which is not intruding upon someone's life or their liberty or their private property. Outside of that, all the power to you, my friends, and go at it and let me watch you flourish across the world. But there are some concerning stats here that feed right into the concern that we had with COVID-19. Here's a headline from usnews.com. More than half of the world, not just America, but more than half of the world population will be overweight or considered obese by the year of 2035. That's crazy. Now again, Andy, we like our fast food. Okay, cool. Again, no problem. Not to tell you what to not to do, but what demographic primarily was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic that were majoritively in the hospital and that had the most kind of health issues and couldn't kick the COVID-19 stuff was elderly individuals, immune-compromised individuals, and obese individuals. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Here's another one from thesun.com. Simple lifestyle hack. By changing your lifestyle and basically eating less food, you can actually extend your life by up to 15%. Just eating less. Now, for some of you that know, and you kind of laugh at me for this, I know, it's okay. I enjoy doing fasting, intermittent fasting. Now, when I say fasting, like I go 6 days at a time without eating. It's just straight tea and water. Why? Because clarity mentally, to be able to do a radio show, I feel way more clear. I feel way more creative. I feel like I'm in tune with how to be able to communicate properly on the radio as well. I feel better, obviously, sitting in a radio studio 10, 12 hours a day. I don't get the most amount of exercise. So the way that I do that is not overloading my system with a massive amount of calories while I'm sitting here doing nothing, burning any of that off. I like to do fasting. Not telling you have to do a 6 or 7 day fasting in any way, shape, or form, because that can be extremely brutal on your body, especially if you have a much more active lifestyle. You need those calories to burn those off. But experts say slashing calorie intake slows the aging process and reduces the risk of early death in many individuals. They did a study on 145 individuals, told them to go on a diet, and what they found, for those who cut calories, were in better shape than the group of the 75 who ate whatever they wanted and whenever they wanted. That's common sense. It's just basic, and we've kind of lost that as well. Two reasons. Number one, because we live in a society where food's always accessible to us. We don't live in the Neanderthal times any longer, where we're the hunter-gatherers and we only eat twice a week because that was the only time we were able to get food. So it's more convenient for us. So obviously, whenever we have that hunger craving, we're going to go and eat. The second is we eat a heck of a lot more because food is so processed nowadays, especially in the United States, that we have to eat more of it to consume the same amount of calories of what we used to. Strawberries or fruit may be bigger, but when we genetically modified them to be bigger, there are less calories in them. Instead of the small punch, remember the small, tiny things come in, or big things come in small packages, however that phrase goes. Big things come in small packages. The dynamite comes in the small package. Instead of seeing the small thing that's condensed with a lot of calories, we have overgrown things to help feed the vast population that's ever growing, and then the calories are less, so we still just end up consuming more at the same time, which if we take these to heart, that would really solve a lot of the issues we see right now with global starvation, because we're wasting a lot of food with the ongoing conflict with Russia and the Ukraine, where Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe that can't produce a lot of food because of the ongoing war. And then there's a food shortage and everybody loses their minds. We could do a lot to save ourselves and leave the government the hell out of the situation.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. When I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world. And it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit by no means. However, you know, we talked about it, and I thought, you know, our ancestors were so smart. They know, like, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try
It's been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know.
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
You know, it's
Right.
like, dude, your leg is still severely broken.
Right.
You just can't feel anything.
Yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, you know, just
Mentally and physically.
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry. But that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, you know, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. Halfway through the show already, we see the light at the end of the tunnel, making it happen the way we do every single day. By the way, real quickly, as we shift away from the previous conversation, talking about ways we can take ourselves out of the picture from the control of the federal government telling us what to do, how to do it when we just live our lives. There is one bit of concern for us, because again, live your life however you want to. That's the libertarian conservative in me. I really just don't care. But there is a cause for concern when we see the headline saying that the over half of the world, not just American, but the world population will be considered obese by the year of 2035. That's a cause for concern. Then we see this from the Military Times, that many military servicemen and women aren't able to pass a lot of their physicals or get in shape because of what they're eating as well. MilitaryTimes.com, dip, Doritos, and drinking. Why the Army can't get in shape. Come on, man. Now, all right. Just throwing this out there. While we're concerned about a COVID-19 vaccination because of the lies from the federal government and whether we question that or not, if we're going to question those, then we should be prepared to take things into our hands, which is like not needing the vaccine. Because again, we know exactly the demographics that it's hitting, which is the elderly, the immune compromised, and the obese. And while we're consuming the less calories, but eating more stuff because the food has less calories in it because they're trying to change things. And then we see that. It's like, that makes me concerned a little bit about our national security and a military that may be on the heftier side and not quite as agile. Not saying all of them are, because there are a lot of awesome beasts in our military, but that's a cause for concern. All right, let's shift gears a little bit here, shall we? I want to move
What's trending today?
overseas, kind of, as I'm excited to have our next guest on the program. She is a former mayor of Troy, Michigan. She's also part of the John Birch Society and a contributor to the New American magazine, which you can find at thenewamerican.com. Excited to have on the program here Janice Daniels with us here. Janice, how are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate your show so much, and it's such an important time for us to be talking about all these issues. You know, you're talking about the military. Now we're getting beat down about the obesity in the country. But as you said, there are many, many finely fit men and women in the military, and the media never talks about them.
Yeah.
So again, it's all a part of that perception. They want to like break us down and make us believe that everything is terrible, and that's part of the propaganda tricks that they play.
They do such a good job of it because while there is an issue in society as a whole with obesity and us eating, less healthy foods or even the genetically modified foods where you try and eat a fruit and there's less calories in it or less nutrition in it is what there used to be because they've tried to make it bigger. And there's a lot of issues we could go down that road of. But you're right, while they try to focus on the negative of having a military that's obese when it's not for the most part because there are some really amazing military men and women out there, they then attack them and try to make them less healthy by the things that they put into us. We could go down the road of COVID-19 vaccinations or the misinformation about other shots and vaccines and everything else. But they attack the ones that are doing good while not even mentioning the good ones because they don't want them to be there and not let us know about the good ones that are there.
That's exactly right. And so it's up to you and I and men and women like us to be able to start speaking boldly about the truth, about the good side.
Yeah.
I like to focus on the good side, but yes, we have so many situations that are troubling in that it's not just one country or another country or our own country. It's all of them seeming to be colluding together against the grassroots, against the Christian community, and against the good guys. Quite frankly, this is an age-old battle between good and evil. But the evil has come to our shores, and so it's up to you and me, like watchmen on the tower. We have to tell the people what's coming, so that not to make them afraid, but to make them bold in their knowledge that they have to stand up and say no. We're not going to take it.
Amen to that. Bold and prepared. Is it working, do you think? I think the social experiment happened with COVID-19, and now people are waking up for that. We're seeing now the committee's trying to be more transparent when it comes to the origins of COVID, which, heaven forbid we mentioned that it could have come from a Wuhan lab before, and we would have got shadow banned and blocked off of social media. Now that's coming to fruition and starting to be true. Do you think people are waking up to a lot of the truths out there?
I would like to believe that they are. I guess I'm always the eternal optimist because no matter how small the remnant is on the side that wins. I think there's a pendulum. It always swings back and forth. And I'll tell you, I really do think that because we've gotten control of the social media technologies much more thoroughly than we did in the past, the left or the globalists understood the social media platforms much sooner than we did. And so they designed a worldwide network of communications where that's what happened with the Arab Spring. They were able to organize these huge uprisings, and then, of course, they would call them the indigenous spontaneous uprisings. No, they were absolutely controlled opposition, revolutions in the street to install puppets in these various governments across the world or around the world that are more favorable to the communist takings. And quite frankly, I think that America had the American Spring on November 3rd, 2020. We are living under a coup d'etat right now, and so it is extremely critical that we keep our senses and understand that we can't allow this fear, paranoia to paralyze us into inaction. We at the grassroots, we at the ground level, we have to work with each other, with our community government officials, if you will, the clerks, the councils, the commissioners, and really start to put up a resistance to what's happened to the leadership in the world, quite frankly.
Yeah. Well, the bigger government grows, the more power they have, and the less transparent they are and relatable they are to the quote-unquote common folk, which is why, everybody always says it, but politics begins at the local level, like you said, whether it's the school board, whether it's your city council, county commission, and I would say even the state legislatures in most states are still relatively transparent and are still held accountable by the people in their districts, because you could still go up to your state legislator's door and knock on it for the most part and say, hey, we have a serious issue here. What the heck's going on? It's the federal government that is concerned, like you said. And now we're seeing some of the truths come out. My parents always told me the truth comes out in the end, so you can lie all you want, but the truth always comes out at the end of the day. We had the truth coming out about COVID. What about this Nord Stream pipeline? Because as far as I'm aware, the Biden administration has just about done everything except for just admit that they're the ones that kind of blew it up.
I don't know who blew it up. I'll be quite honest with you, because I've been doing a bit of research on that, and I can't trust anything that the usurper Joe. I call him usurper Joe. I don't call him President Biden. I call him usurper Joe. I can't trust anything that comes out of his administration. And you know, his son. And his nefarious connections to Burisma Holdings, that was a Ukrainian energy company.
Yeah.
And I read in an article in Breitbart that Burisma would benefit from Russia's destabilization of the Eastern European energy market, which that pipeline facilitated. So it's a serious concern. But then on the other hand, usurper Joe waives the sanctions against the German company that was constructing the pipeline. And now what would be the worst thing that could happen in the media is for the United States to be blamed for it.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to cast blame on America. I am not at all opposed to casting blame on the Biden regime. I'm not at all opposed to that, but I think that he's working in concert not only with Zelensky and with the CCP in China, but with Putin. I think that they are all in this as a globalist force looking to bring communism to the absolute entire world.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. We've talked about on this program before, you know, with all the conversation about pro-Ukraine, pro-Russia, you know, supporting the mission because of what they're doing and, you know, supporting the freedom of Ukraine. And on an ideological scale, obviously I support Ukraine trying to be a sovereign nation. I am in no offense in form of a former KGB communist like Vladimir Putin. At the same time, the globalists, like you mentioned, the world globalists, the ones at power that are benefiting from this, they're pulling the strings on both sides. And because of the connections the Bidens have with both Ukraine and with China and with Russia, no matter what side ends up winning at the end of the day, they're the ones that are benefited from it on either end of it, which is kind of a messed up situation. But people need to be aware of that, whether Ukraine does fend them off or Russia ends up consuming them. Either way, these individuals win with the agenda that they have at play.
That's exactly right. And, you know, Ukraine, quite frankly, has suffered greatly from conquest and political turmoil since before the birth of Christ.
Yeah.
So this is nothing new. That used to be the breadbasket of Europe is suffering so much today. They always have suffered, unfortunately. And how can we possibly know what's really going on when we can't trust our media? I'll tell you, the day when we can have not just a free press, but a fair press is going to be the day that I'm going to raise my hands up and say hallelujah, because that's what we need. We need a fair press. We need people that are dedicated to proper journalism. And, you know, but it's great, again, that programs like yours, people like me, are working together, and we're going to get the message out. And we just need to try to make sure that people understand that they can't come home and say, oh, my God, this happened over here, and oh, my God, that happened over there, because they're buying into this fear paranoia that will cripple us as a society. And I believe that there are free people around the world, not just in America. There are free people around the world that yearn for liberty. Man. So I'm not ready to hand in the towel quite yet.
Oh, nobody is, I think. Man, killing it. Right on the number on all these issues. We got to take a hard break here. I love it. We're talking with Janice Daniels. She is a former mayor of Troy, Michigan. She's a member of the John Birch Society, also a contributor to The New American, which you can find at thenewamerican.com. On the money with all this. When we come back, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about what this means for the battle, what we can do to continue to fight this good fight, to expose the corruption that's going on and make our lives maybe just a little bit better, because we are those eternal optimists. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like, so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle, as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
John Wright, it is. Welcome in. Last few minutes here of the program. Multiple radio stations, TV, live streaming, podcasting all over the place, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation. Yes, I apologize for my generation every single day right here on the program on our multiple radio stations. By the way, as a real quick update for you, as we talked about COVID a little bit earlier, we do have, we found out why Dr. Robert Malone, who was going to come on the program a couple days ago, was not able to make it. He got a last-minute invitation to go speak at a conference, and he was not there. So we are working on getting him rescheduled next week to talk about his latest book, along with the mRNA technology, COVID-19 vaccines, and more. But Dr. Robert Malone will be joining us here back on the program again very, very soon. Right now, though, we're hanging out with Janice Daniels. She is out of the great state of Michigan, which, Janice, I have to say, I love you to death, but I came from Ohio, so I kind of came from the Buckeye background. So there is a little bit of that there. I grew up near the Toledo area, so I know right where you are in Troy.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I'm not so happy that you mentioned Ohio to me, but yeah, I'm not that big of a football fan actually. So I'm more of a political wonk. So
I'm right there with you.
I'm not going to hold that against you.
That's all right. I didn't go to Ohio State College. I went to Bowling Green State University, so it's okay. But everybody knows the fun rivalry between the two. Michigan's beautiful, though. I love it. Speaking of, as we talk about Ohio briefly, obviously the train derailment, another complete disaster when it comes to the government's response to a particular issue. Now, after Donald Trump went to go visit the site, now all of a sudden they're cleaning things up. They're getting rid of the waste. The EPA's locked stuff down. Funny how that happens when we start actually exposing things that are going on that they really don't care about when it comes to the average Joe Schmo like us, huh?
Well, yeah, and I'm really concerned that might have been an act of war, quite frankly. I don't have, that's just my thought, so I don't want to throw out any aspersions at this point, but I don't like the way that whole thing went down. I don't like the way it's going down. And again, Rahm Emanuel was a great one. Never let a crisis go to waste. And I'm afraid that they are going to use that crisis to destroy the infrastructure in this country. It's another issue that we have to concern ourselves with. Here in Michigan, quite frankly, what we're doing to be able to try to at least tell the people what's going on, we're holding a conference. I'm also a board member of a group called Michigan Conservative Union, and we're having a conference on April 14th and 15th called Time for Michigan to Walk Tall. We're going to have speakers from across the country, Robert Owens from JBS, Rebecca Terrell from the New American, Publius Holda, she's the constitutional expert from Tennessee, talking about the dangers of the Article 5 convention. We have Bob Duco, who's a Christian apologist, talk show host here in Michigan. We're just going to be talking about all the kinds of topics like the World Economic Forum, which is coming to Detroit. They're having a headquarters built in Detroit. Our schools and the problems that we have with the books and the curriculum and the mental health crisis. So we're going to discuss all of those kinds of issues in a setting where we're all going to say, you know what, it is time to walk tall in Michigan.
Amen to that. I love it. We got just about a minute left as we wrap up, but that was the question I wanted to ask is, what are we doing on the home front to change this while we rely so much on the government? Every time there's an issue, from a train derailment to a school shooting, we look to the government to say, government, do something. And obviously those some things have not fixed anything, but yet have actually made things worse. So these are the events. These are the type of things that we can do on the home front to actually taking that power back into our own hands, isn't it?
That's right. And you can go to MichiganConservativeUnion.org and get information on the conference. If you happen to be in Michigan in April, by all means, come to our Michigan Conservative Union conference. And you know what? Government, just protect our liberties and stay out of our lives. That's all I want from the federal government. Protect our liberties, uphold the Constitution. By the way, we're bringing in one of the Brunson brothers as well to talk about that wonderful Supreme Court case that they have going on at the Supreme Court. You know the Brunson brothers case?
Yeah.
It's a whole nother topic that we could talk about. But I thank you again so much for giving me this opportunity to talk with you.
It is so great to have you on, Janice. It's Janice Daniels. You can check her out online, thenewamerican.com, the John Birch Society. Check out everything that you're doing. Also, the Michigan Conservative Union as well. Janice, so good to talk to you, my friend. We have to get you back on the show again soon.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Andy.
Absolutely. What a great pleasure. There it is. So much to break down, and we're out of time, so we'll have to just do it tomorrow on a Friday, because that's what we do here on the program. We appreciate it very much. We'll get Janice back on the show again very soon. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst to change in your own community, wherever that may be, all over the country. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. I'm going to go home and have some hot sauce, because that's just what we do, baby. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow on a Friday. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
Dan Bongino.
Because if there's one thing I hate, it's propaganda. And if there's one thing I hate even more than propaganda, it's Bush League propaganda directed at idiots. Want to go to a war zone? Fine. Trump's done it. Bush has done it. Obama did it. Biden does it. I applaud any president who wants to take it on the chin, and it is dangerous over there. But we don't need the propaganda.
Live middays 11 till 2, right here on KQAM. The Dan Bongino Show.
Think you need a new appliance? Not sure how you're going to pay for it? Try something different and get your major appliance repaired today by Napoleon Appliance. Napoleon Appliance is a Christian business that will always do business with integrity and get you fixed up right. With over 135-star reviews on Google, you know Napoleon will get the job done right and do right by you. For your major appliance repair needs, call and talk to Terry today at 316-409-1525.